Hello, and welcome back to Random Vids. So, I'm sorry, I'm just slacking off on videos, I know. Anyway, I felt like it was time to return to the good old game Mario Kart DS. Now, I've done 2 videos on Mario Kart DS already, and I just kind of, stopped. So, I feel like we should continue with Mario Kart DS because, might as well continue, don't just stop. So, anyway, this is the retro tracks, the top 10 best Mario Kart DS retro tracks. And not gonna lie, Mario Kart DS definitely does have the best selection of retro tracks. Like, I've seen better, like Mario Kart 8, for example. But hey, they're here, we might as well rank them. Or not rank them, we might as well talk about them. At least 10 of them. 10 out of the 16 of them. So, without further ado, let's get started with number 10. So yeah, here at number 10 is good old Luigi Circuit from the Game Boy Advance. Now, it was really hard picking a number 10 because after number 9, a lot of the tracks get kind of similar to each other. But I guess out of the standard tracks that look a lot like this one would probably be the best. I was always kind of a fan of Luigi Circuit from the Game Boy Advance. I don't know why. I think the main reason why is because of the rain and just the background. The background looks awesome, and the rain effect just helps all that much. And all the puddles, too. It takes a standard GBA track and turns it into a pretty fun and interesting track. And I don't mind driving around on it. It's a I think it's way better than something like Peach Circuit. It's like, this is Peach Circuit, but interesting, if you know what I mean. And that Luigi balloon is always silly to watch. And of course, the music. Oh man, that music is just awesome. I love this music. I've always liked it, and it's always been one of my favorites. It's just so catchy. Like, let's listen to it for a moment. And there's nothing much I have to add, so let's move on. Number 9. So at number 9, we have good old Shoko Island 2 from the SNES. Yeah, this one is sort of like Luigi Circuit. The difference is that I was going to add this one and not Luigi Circuit, so I realized I only had 9 tracks instead of 10. So I just added on Luigi Circuit as well, because, it's a fun track. But Shoko Island 2 I already planned to have on my top 10 list, and, it's such a fun track that a lot of people don't really pay attention to, if you know what I mean. Like, they always say that this track is more of a boring, bland-looking type of track, and I could see people not liking this one. Keep in mind, this is from the original Mario Kart, the first Mario Kart with probably the most boring tracks. But that doesn't mean this track isn't fun. I kind of like the unique background. It's unique, and it's different. I don't hate it. It's not awesome or anything, but it's okay. The mud section is a lot of fun to drive in as well, and also I like the little ramps added in as well. The track is a little short, but that's expected for SNES, and this track is pretty fun. So yeah, there's not much I have to add about this track. Oh, also, I guess the music is pretty good too. I don't know if it's quite as good as Luigi Circuit, but I still think it's a pretty good song, and it's a good track to start off the Lightning Cup. Even though it's an easy one, it's fine. It's a fine track, and it's pretty fun. It's one I've always liked, so we're going to move on. Number 8. So here at number 8, it's good old Luigi Circuit. Again, I know, it's crazy how the DS brought back 2 different Luigi Circuits. One from the Game Boy and one from, of course, good old Mario Kart Double Dash. The difference is I played Mario Kart Double Dash and I never played Mario Kart Super Circuit. This track, well, unlike the other Luigi Circuit, it's definitely a lot more unique. I mean, I've always really liked this track a lot. I thought it was always really interesting how you could, like, you'd be driving next to the other player on the other side. Thing is, though, DS was like one of the first games I got, and Double Dash was one of the last ones I got. So I got to play its original track years and years later. And I mean, the track is pretty good. Yeah, it can be a little boring at times, but I mean, that's expected for a lot of the Mario Kart DS retro tracks. But that doesn't mean it's not fun to drive on, because I certainly do like driving on this track, and the music is a lot of fun as well. I like the original song, but honestly, I think the DS did an even better job at it. Barely, but yeah, the song is really good. We'll listen to this for a minute as well. And with the song, the track is pretty fun, and it makes top 10 for me. Number 7. Yep, number 7 is Sky Garden, also from the Game Boy Advance. And yeah, I mean, the track is as simple as could be, but it still is a pretty fun track overall. For starters, that Luigi balloon that's in Luigi Circuit returns in Sky Garden as well. I don't know why it's in Sky Garden, but it is. Maybe it's carrying supplies up from Luigi Circuit, and that's how they built Sky Garden. Well, that would be interesting if that was what actually happened. This track is definitely the worser version of Cloud Top Cruise, in my opinion. Cloud Top Cruise is one of my favorite Mario Kart 8 Deluxe tracks, and it's just a lot of fun to drive on. This, on the other hand, I mean, it's still a fine track and all, but it's definitely nowhere near Cloud Top Cruise. Because, I mean, it's still just an okay type of track, it's just definitely not as good as Cloud Top Cruise. It's kind of flat. Well, it's a Game Boy Advance track, of course it's going to be flat, but I mean, there's just better tracks out there. Yet again, though, it is a really good track. It is a pretty good track, and in my opinion, it does deserve top 10. Now, this is the first track that the music just isn't really the best, in my opinion. I mean, it's okay, but it's not as good as the other 3 tracks that we already talked about. I mean, the song is just meh. The reason why is probably because, like Waluigi Pinball, I hear it a lot, because a lot of people really do like this song, and I can understand why. It's very peaceful, but I'm not gonna like it if it's all over the place, especially if it's a song that's either meh or bad. If it's all over the place, I will definitely not like it. If it's a good song and if it's all over the place, that's something, but this song isn't. It's just okay. Track-wise, though, it's a pretty good track. It's a good Lightning Cup track. I know a lot of people are happy this one came back. So, I mean, let's just move on. Number 6. So here at number 6 is good old Shogo Mountain. This is the first Nintendo 64 track we had on my list, and that's because Nintendo 64 tracks are pretty fun. Well, including the ones that they brought back, I guess, just not as good as other tracks. So good old Shogo Mountain, this one also returned in Mario Kart Tour as well. This track is a pretty fun track. Yeah, it's kind of boring, because there is times where you're just driving on nothing, but the theme is really interesting. It's like a chocolatey, vanilla type of... What's that food called? Pudding. That's what it is. There's just a few sections that just kind of remind me of that. Pudding, like right there on the side there. I mean, the theme is definitely the best part about this track. Yeah, it is a little boring, but keep in mind, this one is one of the more beginner tracks in Mario 64 anyway. But it is a pretty good track. The music is pretty good too. It's not awesome or anything, but it's not bad. Like, I think it's better than Sky Garden, in my opinion, mainly because I don't hear it all the time. But it's a pretty good track. Song is decent, and yeah, there's not much I really have to add about this track, so let's move on. Number 5. So good old number 5 is good old Yoshi Circuit, also from Mario Kart Double Dash. This track is, it's a pretty fun track. I really did enjoy it a lot in Mario Kart Double, well, this was the first Mario Kart I had, so I really enjoyed it in this Mario Kart, and then, of course, Double Dash, and 8 Deluxe as well. This track came back 3 times, and I think it kind of did need to come back 3 times, and I'll talk about that later. So this is kind of like Shoko Mountain, where it's a kind of flat track, but just an interesting view to look at. The reason why it's better is mainly because it's Yoshi. I mean, who doesn't love Yoshi? And also, it's in the outline of a Yoshi as well. Like, the track is in a outline of Yoshi, so you're driving on the outline of Yoshi, which is really interesting. And it has never been done before. It's only been done in Yoshi Circuit. Now, the reason why I think it definitely needed to come back in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, because this track is definitely the worst version out of the 3 versions. The reason why is because in Mario Kart Double Dash, there was that one shortcut that you could take, and it's not in the DS version, or heck, even Mario Kart 8 Deluxe version. And altogether, it's just kind of a boring track to look at as well. And Mario Kart 8 Deluxe definitely spruced that up and added a lot of, like, towns at the beginning and people watching the race. The graphics look better. So it definitely is a better track of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, mainly because it's not boring anymore, but they still don't have that shortcut, which is why Double Dash's track is probably the best out of the 3, but just barely. 8 Deluxe is very close behind. But altogether, this track is good, and the music obviously is good as well. So we're gonna move on. Number 4. So here at number 4 is good old Frappy Snowland from the Nintendo 64 again. This one, like Shoko Mountain, can get a little boring at times because, yet again, it's another pretty flat track. I mean, I think every single retro track in Mario Kart DS is flat, with a few of them being a little bit more hilly than others, but all of them are flat. So, I mean, we have to talk about them in a flat perspective, I guess, if you want to call it that. I don't know what you even call it, but anyway, good old Frappe Snowland. I like this track. It's a pretty good track. I really did like it, and for some reason, I've always liked this one better than DK Pass. I don't know what it is. I think the main reason why is because of the music. The Frappe Snowland music is really good. It's probably one of the best snow songs out there. It's just so relaxing and peaceful. It is definitely very good. It's probably my favorite version as well. And yes, I know, Sherbet Island came back in Mario Kart Wii with the same music, but it's just not the same. This DS remake music is really good. And, I mean, there's not much I really need to add about this track. Like I said, I've always liked it better than DK Pass, and I think it's because of the music, not really the track, but just the music. And, yeah, I don't know if I still like it better than DK Pass, but maybe. It's a pretty good track, and it's definitely top 10 for me. I've always liked this track. It's fun. I like the snow theme to this track, so yeah, we'll move on. Number 3. Oh yeah, good old Banshee Boardwalk. Of course this one's going to make it on my list. This one is a lot of fun. It's kind of like a ghost-themed track, and it works really well. Like, I really do enjoy it. I don't think it's quite as good as Luigi's Mansion or Twisted Mansion, but hey, it's good. It's a good track for sure. I mean, yet again, it's another flat track, and it can get a little long at times, but there is that inside section with all the bats flying at you, which is probably my favorite part of this track. And altogether, the track is really good. I heard from a lot of people that this track is better than the original, mainly because of the lighting, because the original was just so dark and you could barely see where you're going. In this version, I mean, you can see where you're going fine. And I mean, I don't know, I've never played the N64 original, but I played this one and it's a lot of fun to play. And I like the big fish, I like the ghosts that just pop in, and altogether it's a really good track. The music is okay. Like, it's not the worst thing ever, but it's not the best thing ever either. And, I mean, it's a decent ghost-themed song as well. Like, I think it's better than half the Mario Kart DS songs. Yes, that includes Waluigi Pinball. Altogether, Banshee Boardwalk is a pretty good track for the Lightning Cup, and I'm happy they brought this one back. I don't know if it came back in Mario Kart Tour yet or not, but probably eventually it will. But yeah, not much I have to add about this track. It's a good track for sure, and definitely one of my favorites. Number 2. Yeah, of course I have to add Bowser Castle 2 on this list. This is definitely the best Game Boy Advance track on this list. I mean, it's just so much fun. It's a Bowser Castle track, but it feels like an obstacle course. Like, it's probably one of the best GBA Bowser Castle tracks. Well, nah. 3 is really good too from the Wii, and I guess 1 is good from 7 as well. But this one is just very, I don't know. It feels like an obstacle course. This track has always been one of my favorites as kids, and it still is today. I still remember driving around the track, treating it as an obstacle course, falling in the lava on time trials because, I don't know, I just felt like doing it. And, I mean, it's not a boring track at all, because it has all these really cool elements in it. Like, I know there's people who don't really like this track as much, because it is, yet again, a GBA track. Keep in mind, it is a GBA Bowser Castle, which means it definitely isn't as fun as regular new Bowser Castles, and that can be true. But, I mean, that doesn't mean this is a bad track at all. Like, it's definitely not a bad track. I think it's a really good track, honestly. Like, yes, it's a little flat, but that's expected for GBA. And also, I really like the music a lot, too. I think it's the best Bowser Castle music ever invented. And I think I mentioned that in the Wii video as well. But, I mean, it seriously is. Like, just listen to it for a moment. And altogether, it definitely makes top 10 for me, and it was almost number 1. Like, I really want this one number 1, but I think there's one that's just a tad bit better. And now, number 1 and my personal favorite Mario Kart DS retro track is... And of course, my favorite Mario Kart DS retro track is good old Mushroom Bridge from Mario Kart Double Dash. And, oh my, this track is just as fun as the original, but I still prefer the original over this version. Why, you may ask? Well, I'll tell you in just a moment. Well, it's just a very interesting track. Even though it's a pretty short one, I mean, it still is very fun to drive on. So there's 4 shortcuts in the original. There is only 1 now in this version, which is sad because all of them were really good shortcuts. There's only 1 remaining. There's obviously the bridge one, which is taken out. 1 at the beginning where you'd go in this pipe, that one's not there. And 1 where you ride on the sidewalk, I guess that's called. Not there either. And, I mean, like I've said before, I just love the highway-themed tracks. They're just a lot of fun to drive on. Like, this is like Shroom Ridge, but even better yet. Because Shroom Ridge was okay and all, but I think this one is definitely much better, even though it isn't as good as the original. And of course, the music is awesome as well. And there's not much I have to add about this track and this list. There's no honorable mentions because the DS tracks are kind of more okay. Or retro tracks are just more meh. So if you're wondering why I didn't do honorable mentions, that's why. And not much I have to add, so I'll see you all next time, which will probably be in a few days with the rest of the 101 Dalmatian ranking. So, I'll see you then. Bye!